here's the next question. The next question is what ends up happening is Pam has a best friend. Pam's best friend is dying of cancer, and she has 2 adult daughters, and she has a husband of 15 years. And so Pam is very much trying to come off as the caretaker for her friend. And she takes her friend home from her mom's. And through a series of events, we notice that she's hitting on a lot of timelines. And the next thing we know happens is the husband who's been out comes home to find his wife dead. The best friend, Betty, is dead, and he calls 911. So this next question is, what kind of a marriage did Russ and Betsy have? However many cards, 3, 5 cards, how would you describe the marriage between Russ and Betsy? And Russ is the one who ends up finding his wife. If you want to throw an additional few cards to find out how did she die? I mean, he said she committed suicide, but is that what happened? Susan.
All right, so this is interesting. First of all, about their marriage, what kind of marriage did they have? So I got that they had a friendly marriage, indicated by the dog. Oops.
Okay.
Not going to help very well. So they had a friendly marriage, but then there was something not quite right. I'm wondering if there was another woman, indicated by the fox.
Okay.
Either another woman or there was something sly going on somewhere else that was hidden. So there was something not quite right between the two of them. But to their friends, they looked like the best couple, right? To their community, they looked like everything was successful. So we've got the sun in the garden, like everything looked good, but that there were changes going on at a distance. So there was.
Don't forget your sun and garden. Is that on this question that you got the sun and garden?
Yes. I specifically did it on just their marriage. So it was the sun and garden, and then the ship and the storks. So at a distance, there were definitely changes. So that's what I got for their marriage. And then you just asked the question, did she commit suicide? And for Lenormand purposes, I decided just to throw 3 cards and do the whole positive negative to get a yes no answer. And the answer that I got to that was no, because I ended up getting 2 neutral cards and a negative. Well, actually, what is the tower? Is the tower?
Can you tell us what your cards are?
Yeah, is the tower positive or negative or neutral?
I got to be honest with you, I don't use positive and neutral. Beth is constantly talking about positive and negative. So I don't know.
So the cards I got for did she commit suicide was the tower, the woman, and the coffin.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yes, very interesting.
Who's next? Who wants to jump in next?
So it's funny, Susan, you brought up like the positive and negative aspect of cards, and a perfect example would be the cards that I drew, because if I would have drawn this for just a normal reading for somebody, I would look at the outcome and think, oh my gosh, these are really great cards to pull. But there are, I think, I kind of, feel like depending on the question, depends on the news of the cards. So what was their relationship between the two, the husband and the wife? First card is the ship, which is movement. There's movement in this marriage, if that makes sense. Followed by the book, which right off the bat is secrets. Followed by the tree, which can mean health or family, but it can also, one of the definitions of the tree as well is boredom. So you've got movement and secrets and boredom, followed by the birds, which is communication. It could be phone calls, it could be text messages, followed by the bouquet, which to me, I feel like is almost like surprise, right?
Mhm.
So with the relationship aspect, again, not having seen anything, heard anything, I feel like this was a marriage perhaps that involved a lot of moving pieces and definitely secrets to this marriage. So I then asked if the husband, I think the question was, did the husband kill the wife?
Now, did she commit suicide?
Did she commit suicide? That's right. Did she commit suicide? From the cards that I threw, I got the clouds, which probably not. There's some concern that this wasn't suicide. I got the fox, which there's something sly about this whole suicide. And then I got the writer, communications, messages. So if it were a yes or no, did she commit suicide? I would say no.
Okay. Tiniya, you want to go, Matt?
Sure. So for their relationship, I threw the child, the heart, and the coffin. So I'm kind of thinking that it may have looked youthful or their relationship may have looked youthful and happy on the outside, but on the inside it was probably ending somewhere. And then for whether she committed suicide, I literally got the birds, the letter, and the cross. So she might have been talking about like saying goodbye, I'm assuming, and that's how I'm assuming that she committed suicide.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry, the dog was barking. I left it muted. What I was saying is I'm also using the Ciro Marchetti Lenormand, which I found interesting that we gravitated to those. This was interesting. For those, well, let me backtrack. For those who aren't familiar with the deck, they do have a couple of extra besides the standard 36. So that one of the extra cards is the one I got in my first position here, which is the maze, which tells me on the relationship, they were trying to figure things out. It wasn't horrific, but they were still trying to, you know, like every marriage goes through its ups and downs. So they were trying to figure out and navigate their marriage. There was outside interference here. I got the snake and the dog. So this tells me there, you know, to me, there was a female who was, again, being somewhat toxic. This female presented in the form of a friend, possibly a longtime friend. And her goal was to end up with the husband. As far as the suicide, I thought this was very interesting again, because I also got the clouds, the snake, and the fox. I threw from a different deck just to get a more definite, but I feel like because the snake and the fox came up, this was kind of shady. I don't think she committed suicide. I think it was set up to look like she committed suicide. So that's kind of, it's kind of what I'm thinking here is.
What did Danny get? What did Danny get?
What'd you get?
The garden, the anchor, and the cloud.
So that's the marriage, right?
Yes. And then as far as if she committed suicide, was a child, a letter, and a son.
That's very interesting because socially they looked very secure, even though they were kind of unsure as far as how the marriage, you know, amongst themselves, there was, you know, yes, no, are we going to do this? Are we not going to do that? But outwardly they were giving that image that they're strong and they're very anchored together. But what do you think? Looking at these cards, did she or did she not commit suicide? If this represents like the child, a young energy, something new, this is information. And then of course, this would be like a happy outcome, do you think?
And the child could also be, child and letter could be new news coming through.
I think like that, or do I think like me in my horror film, like the kid wrote a letter to children birthday?
Yeah.
The woman by the window or whatever that was.
Okay, what you got?
Anything she did? Yeah, like somebody did it. Somebody else
Okay.
did. She goes up.
Okay, all right. What do you got, Ileana?
So this time around I did 5. So the first kind of giving me the picture from beginning to end, where they were at the moment of her death. The first card is the Ace of Wands upside down. That tells me that that marriage started the wrong way, started really fast, and they rushed into the marriage, probably for the wrong reasons. However, the second card is the Star, right side up, which points towards that, you know, like everything, they work things out. And for a while, things were good for everybody involved with that, with the Star. Halfway through the marriage, things started to get sort of distrust, or they were keeping from each other. I don't get that is something about affairs, not exactly financials, but there was some resentment and some pulling out, because I got the 7 of Swords, which I used to call these the thief card, not necessarily, but again, another rocky patch that they managed to work out, because there was a stage that as a family, they seem to be okay by the 3 of Cups that I have here, but is also number 3. So as a couple, couples are not 3. So there was a third element here that gave the appearance of harmony, to be contributing something to this family or this marriage. And that slowly brings financials, because I got the 6 of Pentacles. Yes, it is right side up, but the 6 of Pentacles is that card when you start giving your money away for whatever the reason. We're not going to get into that. The point is, this person is not keeping the money in their pockets or as the entity in the marriage. There is this action to start funneling that money away. So in general, I would say they have their ups and downs, but nothing that they were not able to patch up until the moment of her death. To the question, I drew the card. I know what happened, but to the question,
Yeah,
did she commit a suicide? I drew one card and I got the Hangman upside down. So I'm going to say no,
okay, very good.
because this is not the natural position of the
Right.
card.
You know, that's
What-
interesting, Ileana. I was wondering, in listening to this too, that when I drew the cards, the first one, it was the dog and then the fox, which could also indicate a deceptive friend. But when I was asking the question about their marriage, would that have come up first? A deceptive friend right at the beginning of a marriage? How would you
Who
actually
says
see it, Ebby?
who says there's only one?
Well, and here's the other thing. Don't always look at the fox as deceptive. It could have been
Slut?
the husband is employed.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
he's just what was their marriage? Well, he was employed. You know, it wasn't like, you know, he wasn't providing.
Well, the other thing is she having terminal cancer. There's always the financial question there that is going to put stress on the marriage. So the fox, because towards the end, that was the situation, that was the prevailing situation, her illness. And
Right,
what was
so
going to
they-
happen, what was imminent, because it was imminent that she was not,
Gonna be
she
here
was
for
in the
long.
stage of saying her goodbyes, basically.
Beth, what did you get?
I came in late, so I didn't get the first question. I just got the last questions. Did she kill herself? I don't know anything about cancer or anything, but I got the scythe, the heart, the lilies, the fox, and the bear. So I'm looking at the scythe, I know it means to cut something or to reap something, to get something out of it. Her situation, I'm thinking, but the heart made me think that she was still loved her husband and that they were in a long-term relationship. But then the fox I know you said it can mean employment, but it also can be sneaky, crafty.
Well, the last question is, did she commit suicide?
I know, so,
So that's a different thing of employment or because,
right.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't relate to employment, so I know that. And then the last one, I kind of went with Ileana with the finances, and with the bear. And
Mhm.
I thought that maybe the reason that maybe she did maybe she did for insurance money or something like that, because that's kind of, doesn't look like they had a bad relationship as much as she died because they might have needed money for the money. So
Or,
that's why.
yeah, maybe her,
But the site, I'm
go
not
ahead.
sure how to read the site.
Well, and that was in which position?
The first
Okay,
position.
Of
So
w- of
site,
the-
heart, lilies, fox and bear.
okay, but that was for the last question, right?
I
Did she-
didn't hear the first question. Yeah.
Yeah, so what, did she commit suicide? Well, the Scythe would tell you there was possibly something sharp involved.
Is that how she committed suicide?
No, the question is, did she commit
Did she?
suicide? So
Exactly. So
yeah, so we don't, so now, but look at, you got the Scythe, which means there was something sharp involved. So my thing was, what was their marriage like? The moon,
oh,
the tree, and then the cross. And what
Are we
this
on-
tell,
I'm sorry, we're only supposed to do 3 cards then, right? Because I
no,
did
whatever,
5.
whatever you want, whatever you
Okay.
want.
Go ahead.
So what this is telling me, what was their marriage like? They were emotionally tied to each other. So they had deep feelings. The tree, her health was a very much a heavy issue for them, which caused, it was very sad. I mean, here's this man, he loves his wife, she's dying, she loves him. She's gonna, he raised her kids. There's a group, there's a thing there. Did she commit suicide? There's a lot of talk. Here's the sky, and here's news coming as a result of this. So now what you guys find out now is Pam Hupp is now giving information to the police, because it has now come out that Betsy did not commit suicide because she was stabbed 56 times. That's a lot of times. So for those of you who got the Scythe, I think that speaks to that, right? And so now the police are looking at the person that is usually the first person they look at, the husband,
Mhm.
So here his wife has been stabbed 56 times. He is now in jail. Now, I thought it was interesting because Tiniya, you said she may have been writing suicide notes, or she may have been, and she was constantly going through a depression and telling her family, her mother and her children, and writing suicide notes and telling them she just wanted to die because of her situation. So when he came home and saw her lying on the floor, he didn't check to see if she was stabbed. He thought she killed herself. And it wasn't until the police showed up that they realized she was stabbed so much. So now we go to court. For those of you who got the clouds, what kind of a marriage? Clouds. He was at his friend's house playing games. He was playing that and getting high. So while his wife, so for those of you who got the clouds, I think Danny got a hit on something there too that could be seen as such. So now poor Russ is in jail. And now throw 3 cards or whatever you want. Is Russ the one who killed his wife?
The question is, did Ross kill her? Is your question?
Yes. Did Russ kill his wife?
Well, that's a yes, no. So that is 1 card.
Well, you can do yes, no, or you can do any kind of a variation of it. If you have Lenormand, is he, what are the 3 cards you get, or however many, to that question? Did he kill her?
I don't want to mess anything up, but I kind of,
How, if you, I think by having 3 cards, however many cards you want, if you were, did he kill her? He's in jail. So do they have the right guy?
No.
Okay, well, if you are ready through, Ileana, you can go first.
Well, I have a 5 of Wands, which is a struggle. Obviously, there wasn't any struggle because he arrived in the house to find her dead. So
Uh-huh.
that right there is
Maybe
telling you
that's-
about the circumstances. And the Page of Wands upside down, which is the wrong news.
Very good. I love
That
that.
happened really quick because the guy was arrested without due process.
Yeah. Is anybody else ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead, Susan. You want to go after Susan, Beth?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I threw 2 cards and I got the anchor, which in this case, I'm going to see that as chains, like the being
Ooh.
locked up, and the stork, the stork, which is change. So the wrong person is locked up. So they need to change who is actually chained up.
Oh, I like how you did that. Beth?
Well, I did the whip, the tower, the snake, the book, and the stork. So the whip, did he kill her? Well, whatever happened was really fast. The tower represents, to me, the police. The snake, we know there's a snake involved and it's not him. The book is secrets, so there's something not kosher here. And then the stork, that's change. So they need to relook at it's more like the police, how the police saw it. I mean, whether the police saw that he killed her or not.
The snake and the book is interesting because it talks about tampering with evidence.
Yeah.
Or I was also thinking the snake also represents Pam.
Well, yeah, but
Because-
remember the question is,
Did he kill his wife?
Did
I
he
know
kill-
Pam's not involved. So the snake, I guess the snake still shows that there's some mistruth. There's something
Yes.
sneaky going on. There's something, it's not a shut, closed case, open and shut case. There's too many, and then of course the book with the lies, or not the lies, information, hidden information.
very good,
There's a
Beth.
lot of hidden information. And then the stork is, I think there needs to be some change in terms of really looking at whether he did or not, and doing a better job as to whether he did or not. That's
Very good, Beth. Look at you go. Okay, Tiniya, can you go?
Yeah, so I just switched decks just to be fun. I switched to my supernatural deck,
Very cool.
and I'm not mastered at tarot yet, so I had to cheat a little.
Okay.
But I got the Queen of Goblets, and it was saying that I think he really loved her and cherished her. Because then I also got the, what is this, 10 of Goblets, which is cups.
Okay.
Which also backs up that he really did have a lot of heartfelt emotions for her. And then I got the 9 of Blades. This is what this is.
Oh, 9 of
basically-
Swords.
And basically, it shows that he's kind of the victim now because
Ooh.
of being placed without much evidence. So I'm gonna say no, he didn't kill her.
Very good. I love that 9 of Swords. Very good, man. Rose.
Well, I got a very clear-cut answer with my Lenormand Pixie cards. I got the birds, the child, the heart, which to me that translates to, did he kill his wife? There's going to be communication, news. It's going to be new news. And my deck has, I was like, the heart. What is the heart? My deck has, my Lenormand cards have timing definitions as well. So there's going to be new news coming in August. This
So
card is
August,
specific
it's
to August.
that'll be interesting. I'll have to look in the history.
This is interesting. I got the whip, the house, and the fox. So that told me while the shock, he was receiving the shocking news at home, that the assailant or the person responsible kind of slipped out the back. They just kind of took, they
Ooh.
overlooked it. Yeah. And so I do feel like he was charged here because you have the ship and the cross, which says they moved forward with, whether you call it persecution, prosecution, whichever way you want to do it. But then I have the magnifying glass, which tells me that they moved so quickly towards justice. They should have been looking a little bit closer. They missed things. They needed to look at more of the finer details here. So that's interesting, but
Very
yeah,
good.
I feel like he didn't do it, but he was like, you're our number one, our number one suspect anyway. I feel bad for him looking at the cards. It's kind of like before everything even settled, it's like it all happened so fast. Boom, boom, you're in cuffs and you're gone,
Absolutely. Rose, did you want to say something to that?
This could also be my little heart card. I just realized it could be new news, communication coming, something new around somebody close to his heart.
What did Danny get?
I got, like Susan, I got a stork, a clover, and an anchor.
Oh, so he's, how do you see that?
Well, what's the stork?
That's can be changes.
Okay, so this
Something, yeah.
something that he, basically I'm getting out of this is that things gonna change for him where I guess they thought they had the right guy, but he's lucky something comes up where he's gonna get out of it.
Very good. Look at you. I got
That's
one
what I
brother
thought.
doing cards, another one doing
Bird.
geomancy. Good. I just need, and another one being a messenger of God. So okay, so we all win except for me. So I have this is the backwards tarot. So it tells you what's happening behind the scene. So this is the King of Cups upside down. And so that's Russ, okay? The next card is the Queen of Cups upside down, which is Betsy. And then I got the Five of Pentacles, where people are in despair with nowhere to go. So did he kill her? No, but I get, because I don't have any cards here that say anything points to it, but I have that there's a lot of despair here. And that is true. So Russ ends up being arrested and being charged through the trial of all these lies. And he ends up, I think, going away for like 7 years.
Yeah, he was convicted. And he served 2 to 3 years until the case was reopened.
Yeah, it took a long time. But another point to
And the
this,
reason, this
ahead.
is important, the reason why the case was reopened is they had to review all the evidence, which is the prosecution rushed into charging, and there was prosecutorial misconduct. The judge was drinking bodies with the prosecutor and basically denied all the defense motions and approved all the prosecution motions. They didn't basically present the evidence, the alibi evidence, and they lie when saying that they have pictures of the crime scene, when in reality they didn't have any. They couldn't find any evidence of blood in him, his clothes, or anything in the house.
what ends up happening here for this question is, Pam, what was Pam's? Because now the spotlight is on Pam. What was the motivation for Pam manipulating all these people?